Why are we calling current felon Penelope Thomas Bailey a restaurateur when clearly he only had those restaurants open to siphon tax dollars that his employees earned into his own pockets, according to the U.S. government who won their case? We're really going to call this man a restaurateur? He looked embarrassed when he said that, as he should have been. For real? So he moved to New York at 12. So he had people selling dope for him. He was on the street. And you're still on the street. Well, actually, no, you tried white collar and it didn't work. Should have stayed street hustling. He was a caseworker for the city of New York and still didn't learn crime didn't pay. He said all his people wanted to stay home and collect food stamps. They didn't have his get up and go. Your get up and go steal, you mean? His first wife was pregnant and she had sickle cell, so he needed insurance. That's why he took the job and wasn't being an entrepreneur. So that wasn't working out, so he went back to the block. So you're just a criminal. You're not an entrepreneur. A career criminal. Cynthia, you got hit by a smooth criminal. He would go down to Miami to negotiate a lower price. Why are you telling all this business on a Nene Leakes interview? You should be on one of them true crime podcasts. And Lord, I hope the statute of limitations didn't pass or the feds will get you. Oh, God. I don't care about Penelope's life of crime. Oh, God, he moved to Miami once he made enough and opened an Italian shoe store. You sound like Ra Ali. This hurts like a hangover, and we're only 5 minutes in, and I'm listening on fast forward. He opened a nightclub in 85 or 86, and is that when you got your first taste for tax fraud through withholding? So he started booking acts from Rush Management for the club, and that's how he met Russell Simmons, and that's how he dated Nia Long. Then he opened Fifth Street in 88, and these were successful black clubs, and because the Russell Simmons people wanted him inside, yeah, that's it. They didn't want him being a dope boy no more, so they gave him these leg up positions. I'll say this, at least this is some new information. So he went to London and was some type of A&R and started bringing acts. I don't know if I 100% buy this. You buying it? So he saw Jive Records was hustling artists for their publishing, and he said, I'll start a music company too and educate the black artist. So he used to go to Jack the Rapper, which was some type of rap conference. Nene kind of remembers it, but it was pre-Freaknik, so Nene probably wasn't going. And it's amazing. Peter had all this boots on the ground in the culture, but still ended up a failed white-collar criminal in his coot. So after the music, then he goes into restaurants. When does he get to the theft? He has 7 sisters and 3 brothers. They ended up in Georgia because the youngest sister moved with her husband and the rest of the family just followed. She had problems, so the parents were like, we got to focus on that one. Geez, compared to you, I feel sorry for them. They had a whole bunch of kids and no winners, it seems like. He came because his pappy got sick, and that's when he opened Uptown. So he's only been married twice, once in his 20s and then once to Cynthia. He doesn't think he's a ladies' man. I mean, you're going to prison, so no. You're about to be a man's man. Although you don't have any hair to braid, so there's no reason for you to sit twixt knees. Oh my God. The chat is undefeated. Peter is acting like he's on an episode of A&E Biography. And you're not wrong. Peter's in a relationship. There is no heterosexual dick in Atlanta. If this man pre-prison has puss. That's sad. Peter said you met her and you shaded her. Penelope said Nene is mean to most people. I've heard that she's got a stank attitude too, and that's why she has this little thimble full of opportunities she does. Usually when somebody asks to take a picture, your answer is no, get away from me. Wow, Peter's not letting it go. He's standing on business. It's a shame you couldn't have stood on honesty when it came time to take tax money out of those people's checks. Should have stood on business then. Nene trying to come up with excuses. Well, all places aren't good places. You're absolutely right. But if it wasn't for the fans, you would be back in Athens. You'd be worse off than Sheree. All the restaurants I've owned and you've supported every last one. So, Nene, you've given him money when you went in that establishment that he didn't give the government. How does that make you feel? Nene said, clear it up. We ain't hunched. Peter said, oh, we did. Nene doesn't give me sexual. Saying you first saw Cynthia when she was 18, child, that is not the flex. He bought her a drink. She was a little country at the time and then didn't see her until it was age appropriate. He remembers when she was dating Russell, so you waited and plotted like you did on the money you were supposed to give the government. So when he was opening Uptown, a girl that used to model was working for him as an assistant, one of Cynthia's old model pals, and that's how they reconnected when he needed some funds for investing. He bought her Range Rover, that's how. Damn it! Should have taken it to the dealership. What has happened over the course of your life that has made you the man that you are today? Felonies. Felonies and frauds. Sentencing. Restitution. He's not as outspoken because he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar. You can't be outspoken and a thief. When did I say anything negative about Beyonce? I don't see you out on the town. Restitution and sentencing. He doesn't want to blow his free time before he hits prison. The government can snatch that ass at any moment. You grew up with nothing. Is that what taught you to steal? You always dreamed beyond where you are. I dreamed beyond prison too. You didn't even see a pink toe till 7. Nene gonna say you never worry about being the villain. He's a thief. He steals wages. Of course he's not going to worry about being the villain when you is. He's the villain all the way to the bank. Now he might end up taking a shank. Peter going to say most people can't carry the villain. It's a load. A thefty load. That's a heavy load. All you can carry. Is there something about you, Peter, that people don't know? He'll steal your wages. I feel like once we know that about you, is there anything we care about? Is there anything else we want to know? He said, well, people don't know I had a life in entertainment and a career in entertainment. It clearly didn't serve you. You clearly didn't learn nothing from it. And I really feel like they were just fronts for your dope business and you got too old for it and you tried to go legitimate and you went legitimate. So he realized there's millions of people watching it. I could sell something, but you stole instead. You couldn't sell your restaurants. Peter would always say something to get put in women's business. I mean, at least you raised Cynthia's Q rating, but couldn't do shit for yourself. Nene asked an actual introspective question. Do you think Housewives is missing the men? And he said, yes, people don't want to see women just bicker all the time. And that's what this Housewives season was heavy on. There were no Greg-like and Penelope-like husbands that got in women's business, but also advocated for cooler heads to prevail. Penelope really said, I'm going to jail. Imagine if I was on the show. The ratings would be off the chain. You're going to federal prison, sir. You're thinking about ratings of a show you ain't been on in a decade? This is what dipped in dumb means. Peter, when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? Well, he's going to be prisoner 14905. He wanted to be a police officer. Oh, my God. I can't write this shit. 4 weeks into it, he had lupus and couldn't be a po-po. Girl, boom, you were a criminal. I think a year and a half. How do you feel about going into jail? I know it ain't a good feeling. He said he thought he had it handled, but once they found out it was the Penelope Thomas Bailey, they wanted to make an example. Girl, how'd you said you was sending them check. You ain't had them folks money. Oh, God. So nothing's given when you're black in the restaurant industry. It's pure hustle. We're talking about the money that was stolen from employees' tax rolls. That wasn't your money. And you talk about money you had to invest. This is money that you make. You said banks aren't giving you loans. You get a loan when you open the shit. You was taking out tax money that the employees earned and was making it look like they owed taxes. He said, so you could catch up with withholding tax, but you got to pay rent and other taxes and stuff first. Girl, if you're not making enough money, you close the business because it's defunct, like your brain. They saw him over 10 years repeatedly filing but not pay. They added from Club One, Sports One, they saw your MO, your modus operandi. You did it repeatedly and thought the government wouldn't catch on as you lived large from a secret nest egg. So he got 18 months. After that, we talk about the marriage certificate shit. And I mean, I wouldn't have wanted my child to marry a felon either. So I see why the parents hid the shit. He felt their marriage was over when he found out 5 months after that because she didn't tell him. Boy, what was she supposed to do? Ruin the wedding and have you go off? You would have made a scene. You would have thrown a hissy and a sissy fit. So, because everybody wanted to be on TV, their house became very crowded with the stepmama and the sister who just popped up. And that also put a cramp in the marriage. Now he's saying that the white man was paying the black woman to see who would crack because production knew which couples didn't have a solid foundation. The show started with white women, so I can't go with you on that, Penelope. I can't. But he wanted to get out of TV because he wasn't getting paid. Now, I will agree with Peter on this. You don't get unfamous, you just get fucked up. He said he wishes he didn't become Patricia, as he has been labeled. Well, I mean, if you weren't Patricia, you wouldn't be anything. At least you are Penelope Thomas Bailey. You made a name for yourself. I had to help Cynthia because she wasn't bringing the noise, and she wasn't. She was more concerned about money, so he said, good, let's go on and get divorced because I'm tired of it, and they left. And he went to Charlotte and never came back. But why Charlotte? He said Charlotte wasn't as established as Atlanta. And then he don't want to be around everybody in Atlanta going through a divorce. That's smart. Move to move on. He said women win because they have the confessionals, the last word. I don't know. I feel like Simon won in the divorce with Portia. I feel like Cordell won in the divorce with Portia. I feel like Lenny won in the divorce with Lisa. I feel like it depends on what the guy wants. I feel like Bob won with Sheree because he sure ain't pay. Peter, you lost because you're unsuccessful and a felon. He talked Cordelia into doing that scene where he whined about eating pizza on his cream couch. We didn't work because she didn't have my back. She didn't have enough money for your back. Your back's expensive. He talks to Sheree, but not really close with anybody else. I don't need to go down memory lane with Penelope Thomas. I want to thank you for watching me. I watched that so you didn't have to. And I'm going to see you soon for Love and Merge, Huntsville.